Yo, what's up, my homies? It's OC Gangsta with a brand new video, and today I'm doing something different. I'm not doing TF Tuesdays. I'm putting that on hold because I've decided to replace that with this instead. Well, not replace it, but remove it for a bit because I need to focus more on what the subscribers want rather than what I think will gain subscribers. All right. So I was asked after doing the HMS Hood video, which went quite well actually. I got 3 likes on. Thanks guys. I was asked, was I going to do more Warships videos, and obviously I like doing Warships videos and I like doing history videos and etc. So I decided maybe I could do more. So I am doing more, and today I'm going to be asking, or solving, or whatever, Bismarck or Tirpitz. Now, if you don't know what the Bismarck Tirpitz were, they were Bismarck class battleships. There was 2 German Bismarck class battleships. One was called Bismarck, the first one, and one was called Tirpitz, the second one. And they both served during World War II, and they were both sunk, and they were built to be the best battleships there were. In fact, Bismarck is my favourite warship. So, all the warships really. So, I'm going to go in. So the video, like last time, will be split up into 3 parts. You've got the history of the 2 ships, you've got the statistics, and you've got which one would you pick, which I would pick, or whatever. In which situation would you pick? So let's go into the history first with the Bismarck. So to start the story of Bismarck, we have to go back a while before the Bismarck. In 1918, Germany had just been in a war and they lost. And what happened was that there was a treaty that they had to sign called the Treaty of Versailles. And then this restricted the Navy. It restricted the Air Force, it restricted the submarines, it restricted the Navy, it restricted the Army. And what happened was that they were kept in this new government called Weimar. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go faster. And what happened was that this little man called Adolf Hitler destroyed the Weimar and replaced it with something called the Third Reich. And he said, whatever, treaties, whatever, I don't need no treaties. And what happened was that he went, we need a big Navy, alright? Because we need something that will destroy our enemies, and he came up with the Bismarck because he wanted a navy that would compete with the British, the Americans, and the Japanese. Yes, he wanted to destroy the Japanese, funny enough. And what happened was that they were restricted on the size. So what happened by the Treaty of Washington. However, the Japanese were building the Yamato in secret, the Americans were building their own ships in secret, the British designed the Prince of Wales and the King George V in secret, so basically they all went, no, we're not doing this treaty. It was basically, they were like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that, and then they were like, yeah, they were. What happened was that Bismarck the Bismarck was launched, and Hitler said, it's not going over, like, it's not going over the regulations, it's in my regulations. And he completely lied. He told the press it was only a certain size, and when people saw it in person, they were like, hang on a sec, this is like way too big than what we restricted. And he was like, oh, never mind. But no one really cared because no one knew he was going to go to war, and eventually that did happen. And what happened was that Bismarck was the first of the ships to be built, later with Tirpitz, almost said Prince Eugen. And here is Bismarck being launched, and you can see how great she was. She represented Germany. She was to represent Germany. And this is what Bismarck looked like in real life. As you can see those black things, those little black people, not being racist, but on the gun barrels and stuff and all over. That's how big she was. She was a huge ship, absolutely huge. She was capable of travelling up to 30 knots, which was fast. She was a fast battleship. And she was very good. She was a very good successor to the Genocide class battleships. And what happened was that she was fitted out, and then war broke out, and she took part, along with Prince Eugen, in an operation called Operation Rhine, or Rheinberg, which is German for rainbow. So here she is with her camouflage equipped in the fjord, and what happened was that her and Prince Eugen were going to go around the top of Britain and break out into the Atlantic to sink the British convoys, to starve the British people. Because that would get them out of the war and bring them on their knees, because it sort of worked in World War I. And it was planned for other ships to take part, like Scharnhorst and all the other ships. Problem was, they all got damaged at the same time, so only Bismarck and Prince Eugen were available. and Bismarck wasn't equipped with all of her weapons. She was supposed to have better AA guns equipped, torpedoes, everything, which she was supposed to have what her sister had, but she didn't have it. And so what happened was that she was rushed and sent out straight away under the command of Captain Lindemann and Admiral Lutyens. But what happened was that a certain country wanted to sink her. Britain wanted to sink her. And what happened was that they sent a recon plane to go and take a picture. And this is the actual picture. You can see that large ship down there at the bottom is Bismarck, and that one up there is Prince Eugen, and they were, I believe, and they're setting off for their voyage, and the British realised we need to sink her now because she's like the largest threat, and so they sent half the navy all across the Atlantic, Iceland, down south, just to see where she would go, and they were praying that she would go around Iceland because then the new Prince of Wales and HMS Hood would attack her. And that did happen. And here you can obviously see, as I said in the HMS Hood video, this is the Bismarck firing her main guns. This is how powerful she was. And this was pitch black in the morning, practically. Foggy and everything. And you can just see this fire just erupt from the guns. That was Bismarck firing all of her guns at HMS Hood and Prince of Wales. And what happened was that the British obviously tried to get in front of the Germans so they could get all their guns on the Germans, but problems what happened, so the Germans got ahead of the British. And what happened was that the British opened fire at the Germans anyway, and Bismarck wouldn't fire because they weren't ordered to. Admiral Lutyens was ordered not to go and engage British ships. Captain Lindemann wanted to just sink them because they were a threat to the ship. However, Lutyens saw engaging British ships as a threat to the operation. He cared about the operation while Captain Lindemann cared about the ship. And so what happened was that they were getting closer and closer to shells. And Lindemann, eventually got to the breaking point where he took command himself and he said, I won't have my own ship shot out from underneath my ass. And he said, target leading ship, all guns fire. And what happened was that the British made a mistake at first, thinking that the Prince Eugen was the Bismarck and the opposite way round. But then they realised, hang on a sec, we're shooting at the smaller ship, Bismarck is a larger ship, right, let's try this again. And what happened was that Prince Eugen and Bismarck concentrated their fire on Hood, and eventually with 5 salvos from Bismarck they managed to sink Hood. This is Bismarck and Prince Eugen. You can clearly see that this is actually wrong. Sorry, but that is clearly Bismarck in the front. That's Prince Eugen behind. They looked very similar, the ships. It was just that Prince Eugen was slightly smaller and she was an more advanced Hipper class battlecruiser. I'll go over that later. And that is supposed to be Hood, I think, in the background, but this is an artist's idea of the battle, how it went. So yeah. And what happened after that was that the Prince of Wales managed to get some damage to the Bismarck, and what happened was that this was caused a big problem, and what happened was that she was leaking oil. And what happened was that, so Lutyens made the choice. Lindemann wanted to return to Norway to go and get repairs, but Lutyens wanted to go to France, so that he would have the complete Atlantic Ocean to himself, instead of making that perilous journey around Britain. And so what happened was that the Admiral said, right, we're going to France. And what happened was that they split off from Prince Eugen. And the British went absolute nuts, because they just sunk their best warship. They just sunk the pride of the British Navy. Of course, you're going to annoy someone if you sink it. So what happened was that they sent the Mediterranean fleet to come out and go and pursue the Bismarck, and they sent the HMS Ark Royal along with swordfish bombers attached with torpedoes to go and hunt her down, basically. And they tried and tried again, and they ended up messing up one time, attacking one of their own ships, and they ended up losing her, and then they regained her again by hiring a plane from another country, the Catalina, to go and find her, and then it was just going all over the place, and they damaged the rudder of Bismarck, so all she did was turned in a big circle, and the British swarmed her, and they just opened fire. Absolute open fire. All hell broke loose. And that there, I'm going to put my mouse on it, is Bismarck there. That's Bismarck. Those are shells from other British ships. You can hardly see her, and this is a smoke line that she's given. She is, at this point, she was a blazing wreck, just like under fire. Because even though she was the most powerful ship afloat, if you had all these other ships ganging up on you, you're not going to survive. It's like a game of World of Warships, getting a battleship and just going straight into a destroyers. It ain't going to work. And this here is a painting of the Bismarck, as you can see. Clearly she's sinking by the stern, and she capsized, and she's actually a really nice wreck. My second favourite wreck. And this is what she looked like as she was going down. Eventually what happened was that they managed to hit the bridge and all weapons control went out, and the order was eventually given to abandon ship, and Admiral Luton and Captain Lindemann died in the sinking of the Bismarck, along with a lot of men. There was only about over 100 that survived out of a crew of 2,000, due to the fact that the British left them because a U-boat was supposedly in the area, when it actually didn't surface until about 7 hours later. It was a while later. Now let's go into the history of the Tirpitz. Very similar to the Bismarck. The Tirpitz was later, and she wasn't ready to go with the Bismarck and Prince Eugen. So what happened was that she was, after Hitler received the news that Bismarck sunk, he wasn't happy. He saw his ships at threat, and he went, this is a problem. And then he had this thing called Atlantic Wall, which was supposed to protect Germany. And what happened was that he went, well, I need it to be a bit longer just in case, because we might get invaded from the north. So he thought, I know what I'll do, I'll put Tirpitz up north to go and be part of the Atlantic Wall. She was basically a permanent gun emplacement. And what happened was that she basically rested in a fjord just waiting for the British. And Admiral Raeder, who was in charge of the entire navy, Kriegsmarine, and in charge of the ships, he was annoyed at this, because he was like, my ships are built to go and fight other ships, they're not built to just sit in a port and do nothing. And what happened was that there was a supposedly British convoy in the area. So what happened, he went, oh well, just send in Tirpitz, and that's what happened. And when Hitler found this out, he was furious, and he went, right, that's it, screw your H plan, screw your Z plan, no more battleships. And these were even bigger planned versions of the battleships of Bismarck and Tirpitz, the H and Z plan. And what happened was that, but he did not do, and he basically tore apart the whole conscription thing and banned them. And but he didn't do it to Tirpitz. What happened was that he kept her as part of the Atlantic Wall, and what happened was that he just kept it really as part of the whole defence, against Germany. And what happened was that the British found this out, and it was actually quite nice on board the Tirpitz. They had their own newspaper. It was like a little city. The war didn't affect them there. It was nice. And what happened was that the British found out, and this was another photograph they took, and here's the Tirpitz in the fjord. And what happened was that the British went, right, we need to sink her now. And they sent everything they could. I thought they just attacked her twice, but no, they attacked her so many times, it's unbelievable. They sent in all types of bombers, they sent in all types of stuff, and here she is in a camouflage in the fjord. And this was before she got attacked at all. And what happened was that she was attacked by these mini submarines called midget submarines. They were very small, very stealthy, very agile. The entire operation to sink her didn't sink her, but it did cause damage to her. However, this was quickly righted and she was all okay, but they failed. So they turned to the help of someone else. They turned to the dam busters. Here you can see the Lancaster bomber and the dam. And what happened was that the man who invented the bouncing bomb invented a new bomb called a tall boy bomb, which looks like this. And this bomb was just ginormous. It worked like a garden dart. You threw it and it just went down at 600 miles an hour. The sound barrier broken, and it would just deeper in the earth and just explode. And this was perfect to get through the armour of the Tirpitz and getting into a hull and blowing her up. And so what happened was that they sent in the first wave, and she was bombarded so much. This was actually the image taken, and you can see a hit right there. That explosion there, which my mouse is over now, is a hit from a tall boy. That is how powerful it was. That there is a near miss. That there is a miss. But that is a hit. And the thing is, this is what a tall boy looks like. This is the damage. Look at the entire damage that it's done in this area. And the thing is, she didn't sink. She did not sink. The Tirpitz did not sink. She stayed afloat the entire time. It was insane. But she wasn't seaworthy. She couldn't go out into sea because the damage to the hull was that much that she couldn't go out. And so they moved her up further. And the British got 38 Lancaster bombers, and they were like, right, she's in perfect range. And she was in perfect range. They didn't have any problems with refueling or anything. And what happened was that they just sent in wave and wave of tall boys. And this is down here is the Tirpitz. That's the Tirpitz. It was early in the morning and they attacked. And the Germans could have got sooner, but the problem was that with the radio, something happened with the radio and the planes couldn't be mustered in time, and she capsized in the low waters and the shallow waters. They built a bank to basically help her, and what happened was that she shook that much, 3 hits and 2 near misses, and basically what happened was that she managed to get off the bank, and so the weight caused her to capsize. And she basically, here is the areas where she was hit. She was hit at the bow, here, here, here. Basically one side she was absolutely hit, which caused her to capsize. And this is what she looked like. This is what happened to her. She just capsized, and there was nothing they could do. There were still men trapped inside the hull, and they couldn't do anything. And so what happened was that a lot of them died over time. So what happened was that they couldn't save the ship, so they just decided to salvage it, just take it apart, scrap it, and just whatever, make them into bullets or bombs or whatever. And this is actually an image of the Tirpitz with her. You can see her keel, and you can see her hull up, and this is actually a very rare image, coloured, and that's what she looked like. And that was the end of the Tirpitz, and that was the end of the Bismarck. Now let's go and look at the stats of both the ships. Now, obviously, here is the difference between the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, just a visual difference. As you can see, she's equipped with AA guns on the forward guns, and well, one of the forward guns, and she's got a better rangefinder, I can point out. She's also got a better AA gun system, and you can see that her flight deck has been more improved, because what happened was that actually that was they had a recon plane. I'll show you here. I'm not sure if you can see this, sorry if you can't, but there's a recon plane, and what happened was that was damaged, and obviously you can see that Tirpitz is a lot more concealed, a lot more stealthier than Bismarck. She weighs 1,000 tons more due to the armor and armor that they added onto her. So let's go and look at the World of Warships stats itself. So let's go start with the Bismarck. So we can see her survivability is 88, her artillery is 62, her AA guns 37, and movability 47, concealment 20. So she's not very concealed. You can spot her easily. She's got quite high survivability, quite powerful guns, and quite powerful AA guns. She's capable of traveling at 30 knots, and I think she's a good ship, really. I'm trying to work towards the Bismarck in World of Warships, and yeah. That's really the stats of the Bismarck. Now let's go and look at the Tirpitz. As you can see, the concealment of the Tirpitz is only one difference than the Bismarck. I think I might have got the wrong stats here. I'm sorry if I have. But the survivability is lower than Bismarck for some odd reason, and her artillery is lower than Bismarck for some odd reason. However, her AA guns, because she was equipped with more AA guns, they're more powerful, and obviously it makes sense due to the fact that she was constantly attacked by Lancaster bombers. She's got more torpedoes, so she's got 16 guns. She's got 16 torpedoes, sorry. So yeah, she can do quite damage with the torpedoes. And you're probably wondering what would happen. If the Tirpitz and the Bismarck were to fight World Warships. Well, I actually found a video of a fight between Tirpitz and Bismarck. It actually shows. So here is a video of the Bismarck against Tirpitz, and that ship behind there is the Tirpitz, and that ship there is the Bismarck that they're in control. And as we can see straight away, the Tirpitz has got less damage than the Bismarck. It's got more damage than the Bismarck, sorry. And obviously we can see that the Bismarck has a cruiser to help it. A bed. Now the Bismarck has some field advantage here, because the Bismarck can get all of her guns bearing down onto the Tirpitz, whilst the Tirpitz can only get her front guns down. As you can see, a torpedo has hit the Tirpitz, I believe. So correct me if I'm wrong. And as we can see here now, the Tirpitz is actually on the offensive. It's actually it's crossed fire to the Bismarck, and what's happening is that it's on the offensive at Bismarck. It's firing at Bismarck as well as the cruiser, and the Bismarck is starting to lose health, whilst the Tirpitz is losing not much. And we can see at last effort, the Tirpitz is firing its torpedoes, attempting to destroy the Bismarck. And we can suddenly see this health drop in the Bismarck. Whilst Tirpitz is suddenly at the health drop, but it's still going. And obviously, in the end, the Bismarck sunk the Tirpitz. I'd like to thank Maxley for that video, because I wouldn't be able to show it without him. But obviously, as you can see, the Tirpitz has some more advantage. Now, what is the difference between the Bismarck and the Tirpitz in World of Warships? It's quite simple. It's quite hard, but it's quite simple to decide. The difference is the Bismarck is a defensive ship, whilst the Tirpitz is an offensive ship. Tirpitz is close range, it can get in, it can fire torpedoes, it can do this, it can do that. Whilst the Bismarck, it has more defensive stuff, it has better survivability, it's designed to take the hits, whilst the Tirpitz is designed to get in there and go and destroy the enemy. That's the difference between the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, and the fact that you have to pay money for the Tirpitz and you don't for the Bismarck. So yeah, so now let's move on to which one should you get. So, obviously, as I said before, in the stats of each ship, the Tirpitz is more effective at being an offensive ship, whilst the Bismarck, having the better survivability, is more of a defensive. The Tirpitz is armed with torpedoes, and is capable of getting up close and firing torpedoes into the enemy, which most high-tier battleships are not. Like the Yamato, that's not capable. Actually, I haven't done my research properly, sorry, I don't know if there's any other battleships that have torpedoes, correct me if I'm wrong. And the Bismarck doesn't have torpedoes. And so really, that's the main difference between the two. And the fact that the one costs money, one doesn't. So, it really depends on which type of person you are. If you want to go through the whole system of trying to get the Bismarck, which is quite a high tier ship, then go for the Bismarck. If you want a ship that is really, effective at like getting up close and firing torpedoes, you like torpedoes, you're really good with torpedoes, but you're not good when it comes to battleships, then get a destroyer. No, I'm just joking. Get the Tirpitz. Really, because there's sort of this problem as well, briefly I need to mention, in World of Tanks. On the Xbox, you've got the Tiger, and you've got the Tiger 131. And it's quite odd because the difference between those two is hardly anything. However, the Tiger 131 has better concealment. It can detect anything staring at it. Anything that looks at it, like an artillery, it can detect for some odd reason. And it is limited so that it only goes in tier 7 games. It doesn't go into tier 8 or 9 or 10. Because I played with my friend Tirpitz UK, and he got the Tiger. And the funny thing is that we were in tier 9 and tier 8 games, and he's a tier 7. And the thing was that I thought, oh well, I'll pick my tier 6 tank, and it still put me in a tier 8 game, even though I had a tier 6 tank. It was insane. So, and that's the thing with the Bismarck. The Bismarck does get put in tier 10 games, I was told. I've seen games, and she's like a tier 7, I believe she was. No, tier 8 in a tier 10 game. Which is quite odd, really, the fact that she's got 2 tier ships above her. So, personally, I'm not interested in the Tirpitz. She doesn't really appeal to me. The Bismarck appealed to me more because, you know, she sunk Hood and she was, you know, she was this great, glorious final stand. Tirpitz, she was kind of sad. I know, it's quite a sad story about the Tirpitz. Because the Tirpitz, she was really just shut off from the rest of the war. She was really just kept in a small place, and she just stayed there and tried to defend herself. You know, she wasn't out in the open sea. She wasn't doing her job, what she was made for. She was just really at the wrong place at the wrong time. And, you know, and so, really I'm going to go for the Bismarck, which, you know, But if you have the money and you want to buy the Tirpitz, or you're historical like me and you just like the ship the Tirpitz, then I advise you go and get the Tirpitz. But it's not my choice to make the decision for you. It's just my choice to give you advice on which ship to have. And I'll be doing one on Prince Eugen and the Admiral Hipper, as well as other ships, hopefully soon. And the thing is, really, there's nothing else I can say, really, about the ships. That's really everything I can say, truth be told. I've run out of stuff to say for the first time in a video, because I've sort of got this problem of, I don't know whether to advise you on one or the other. But if you have the money, and you want to buy the Tirpitz, go buy the Tirpitz. Alright, because she's quite a nice ship. You know, she has better concealment, she has a limited edition camouflage, premium camouflage, she has torpedoes, she has better AA guns, she is capable of doing different stuff. So we're going to get the Tirpitz. But if you really want to get that feeling of earning something, of grinding that way, of putting in the effort, and praying that it plays off, then go for the Bismarck. Really, it's not up to my choice. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I felt under pressure doing this video, just like I did with the HUD, because I don't know how you guys are going to react, how you guys are going to think watching this. You know, this ship is this ship is that. But you know, and I was thinking, should I put in the history or not? You know, I try to go as fast as I can. This is probably going to be a 30-minute long video, so I'm sorry about that. But hopefully, you know where to skip to, because I've put that in the first video with the HUD. Because I wasn't gonna like bore the hell out of you with the history. You can go, oh well, I don't want to hear the history. Just go skip straight to the stats, or skip straight to whether I should buy it or not. So anyway, that ends this here. I really enjoyed doing this video. I hope it pays off. I'm pretty god it pays off, this video. And I don't really know much about Tirpitz, truth be told. She never really appealed to me. It was just that I knew about Bismarck when I was like the age of 4 or 5. Like literally. So yes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you next time. And as always, peace out, my homies.